Welcome back to Big Mama's House, y'all, and it's Papa's edition number two, episode number two of the Sports Podcast. Today we're going to talk about some surprise baseball teams and disappointing baseball teams. It is baseball season yet, so we're still going to be into that. So we're going to actually get into it here. Hope everybody's having a happy hump day because it's a nice day out there. We do need some rain. No matter where you're at, you do need some rain. It's pretty dry. So happy hump day, everybody. Now we're going to get into the baseball predictions, actually the surprises and the disappointments, actually. We're going to talk about a little bit of football and Money in the Bank match predictions as well. So first, my surprise in the American League are the Rays. The Rays are a bit of a surprise this year. I mean, they got the best record in baseball, I believe. At least the American League, they have the best record. They got really good pitching. Some good hitting, some young players. Like I said, my last episode, they don't have any like real big superstars, but they're all just a bunch of young and pretty good players on that team. The Orioles, they're a young team. They're young and up and coming. They're second in the American League East, but they're really surprising this year with all their young players, with their catcher, their pitching staff, their coach. They're like the second best record, I believe, in American League, but they're second place in the East. Then we go to the Texas Rangers. They're another surprise team in the AL West. They're pitching like when they first swept the Phillies, the first series of the season. I'm like, was that a mirage? Was that a joke? Was that just because of the first series of the season? They'll come down to earth. But right now, they're actually whipping up in the West. They're like 4 or 5 games ahead. It's not the Astros. I believe it's the Angels that are actually second in that division. And that they're also my last surprising team in the American League. Usually, I mean, they got good players, but usually they don't have very good pitching. They just got Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. But actually, this year they're hitting and they're actually winning. They got like 42, 43 wins at this point in time, and they're second in the West. Now in the National League, my surprise teams are the Marlins. They're pretty surprising because usually they're not really good this time of year. Usually they're like 4th or 5th place by now. But they got really good pitching, and their best pitcher is not even pitching that well. Sandy Alcantara. He's last year's Cy Young winner. He's not even doing that good this year. They got other pitchers actually doing better, and they're hitting too. Gene Segura is doing pretty well, former Philly, so he's now third base over there. They got some really good, like Soler, he's there. Chisholm, they're all having good years. So as of right now, the Marlins are one of my surprise National League teams. The Reds just came off a big old win streak, like 11 games, 12 games. Now they're on another streak. But they're first in the Central, and they're my second surprise team in the National League. Again, the Central on both leagues are the weakest, so you can just have a 500 record and be first place in one of those. But right now the Reds are over 500 and they're actually leading that division by like a half game or a game over the Brewers. The Pirates, also another surprise team. They're actually doing pretty well this time. This time of year, usually they're falling and they're usually sellers at the deadline. But this year they're doing pretty well. They're actually third in that division. They're like 4 or 5 back, still within distance of that because like I said, that division is just no good. And then I got the D-backs. They're actually leading the West. They're another surprise team. Usually they're sellers this time of year. But as of right now, I believe they're going to be buyers. And they're leading the West by about 4 games over the Giants. So the Giants are another team. They're up and down. They can be good for a while, and then they hit a big slump. But they're second place right now behind the D-backs. I believe it's like 3 or 4 games. Now, the disappointing teams here in the American League, I got the Yankees. They're pretty disappointing, and they're going to continue to be disappointing because they lost Aaron Judge for a while. He tore a ligament in his thumb, I believe it was, so he won't be playing for a while. Maybe even the rest of the season. I don't know. They don't know either. There's no timetable for his return. So if he's down, so are the Yankees. They're not going to do much because that's all they have is Aaron Judge. Then you got the Twins, another disappointing team. Again, they are leading the AL Central, but the record is 40-42. Again, they're under 500 and they're leading in the AL Central. I don't care if you're leading in a division, if you're under 500 and you're supposed to be well over 500, you're a disappointing team this year. The Astros, defending champs in baseball, they're actually, I believe, they're third now in the West, but by 6 games, or like 6 games out. But they're disappointing. They're only at like a 42-37 record. They lost last night to the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are actually they are actually the worst team in the National League, one of the worst in baseball. So, I mean, you can't be losing to those teams if you want to actually compete for a championship. So the Astros, as of right now, are disappointing. Again, there's still another whole half of the season to go, but anything can happen. But as of right now, they are pretty disappointing where they're at in the standings. And the Mariners, who I actually picked to do well and make a wild card in the American League West, they're like next to last, and they're not doing well at all. But they got good young players. Who knows? They could pick it up. I doubt it, but they're probably going to finish fourth and not make the playoffs. Now in the National League, I got the Mets. They're my first team who is a disappointing team. They're like I believe they're the largest payroll in the National League, maybe even in baseball. They got the largest payroll, but they're not doing well at all. It's their errors, their pitching's not doing well. In fact, the other night the Phillies beat them. They got 4 runs in the 8th inning, and the Phillies only had 1 hit. It was all walks and hit batters and an error. They did have 1 hit, but like I said, there was an error, 2 hit batters and walks that scored those 4 runs. So, I mean, and then Max Scherzer said earlier, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, that he would actually void his no trade clause if he could go to a contending team. So we'll see what happens there with the trade deadline actually picking up, and it's only like a little over a month to go. We still got a whole July, but usually after the All-Star break, that's when the trade deadline picks up. That's when that heats up pretty much. Oh, okay, and then the surprise teams, again, I said, are the Marlins, Reds, Pirates, D-backs, National League. And then the disappointing teams are the Mets. The Cardinals are another disappointing team. They're going to be sellers at the deadline. I believe Goldschmidt, Arenado, Montgomery, Flaherty, and Hicks could be on the block. We're actually going to get some trade bold predictions actually here coming up in the next segment. But the Cardinals are a real disappointing team. Like I said, they're last in one of the easiest divisions in baseball in the Central, and they're 8 games back. But I don't see them coming. And they're my picks to win the Central. But I'm actually disappointed, and I don't believe they're going to win the Central, especially if they get rid of those 4 players right there. The Dodgers, even though they're second in division or third in division, they're still disappointing. They're like second in the wild card. But with that team they got, the D-backs beating them in that division, there's to me, you have aspirations of winning that division and going to the World Series. You need to win, and they're not winning at all right now. And the Padres, I think they're like the second or third largest payroll in baseball. They're got 37 and 42, and they're not winning. They're next to last in the division, the West. They got all those players. They got Soto. They got Machado. They got Yu Darvish in the pitching rotation. They got Healy, the closer. So they're not doing too well as of right now. But hopefully they'll pick it up. And I picked them to win that division. My predictions early in the season are not panning out as of right now. Now I do have the next segment here to trade bold predictions. And I got the buyers right in each conference. I got the buyers being the Phillies in the National League, the Marlins, the Reds. They're all going to be buyers, and then you got some teams that are going to stay. They might just sell and buy, or they just might not be anything at all. Like the whole Central of the National League, I think the only team really that's going to buy will be the Reds, maybe the Cubs. Might buy 1 player, but they might sell a couple. So you have a couple teams there that are going to be buyers and sellers. You might have a few teams that do nothing, in that division. But the Cardinals are going to be sellers. The Reds are going to be buyers. Pirates, they're going to stay still. Cubs probably will buy something and sell something. And the Brewers, actually, they might even be buyers too in that division. They're second place by a few games. The Marlins in the National League, I believe they're going to be buyers also. They're going to Probably looks like they might. Lucas Giolito, the pitcher from the White Sox, could be a potential trade target for them. They need the pitching. Again, their best pitcher, Alcantara. St. Alcantara is not doing well this year. He's struggling, so I don't believe he's going to win a Cy Young. But they do have a good core of young guys, average pitchers that are actually winning for them. But if they get Giolito from the White Sox, I think that'll put them maybe they won't win that division. The Braves are going to win the East, but that'll put them up there towards even higher up in the wild card. I got the Reds buying. They're gonna the bold prediction for the Reds. They're gonna actually get Aroldis Chapman back from the Royals. The Royals are one of the worst teams in baseball. They actually might be. Athletics might be tied for actually being the worst team in baseball. And Aroldis Chapman's over there, and Greinke is over there too. So he might be on the trading block. But I don't think Greinke wants to go anywhere because I don't think he can pitch in a big market team. And usually the big market teams are the ones that are going buyers. So unless he goes to the Reds with Aroldis Chapman, I don't see Greinke going anywhere. But I do think the Reds will get Aroldis Chapman. I think all of the AL Central, but the Royals are going to be buyers because that division is so close and so weak. And who knows? They might all be sellers too. I don't know where they're going. But I believe that the whole division is going to be buyers, except for the Royals. I got the Astros in the American League. They're going to be buyers. Paul Goldschmidt has actually been rumored to be going over there to play first base. They're looking at they need a first baseman. The one they have now is actually struggling. But I believe the Astros will actually trade for Paul Goldschmidt, put him at first base. Then I got the Yankees not trading. They're not going to do anything. They're going to stay pat. And that's a bold prediction. They probably, they got Judge on the shelf. They need some pitching, but they might stand pat this year and not sell any of their young players to get a big bat or get a big arm. They might wait till next year when Aaron Judge comes back healthy again. Now on the sellers part, the American League, I got the Royals. They're going to be sellers, and everyone is on the trading block. There's not one superstar on that team that should be, a no trade, should be a blue chipper. No, everybody should be on the block. They need to get some young prospects in the minors. They need to get those players in there and get the youth built back up in that organization. The White Sox, even though they're third place in the worst division in baseball, I think everyone should be on the trading block. There should be nobody that's not trade worthy. Everybody should be fearful for leaving the White Sox. They should be because they're underperforming and they're not doing well at all. And they should be traded. The Athletics, same thing. Everyone's on the trading block there. Again, they got to replenish their farm system. They're actually going to move. They'll probably go to Vegas. So they need a good young team to go to Vegas. And hopefully when they go to Vegas, they got to sell tickets. So maybe the off season, they might try to get somebody big to try to build a team around them. But as of right now, everybody is on the trading block to get younger. I got the Nationals being sellers. The big piece for the Nationals is Dom Smith, first base. Any team out there that needs a first baseman, the Phillies might, but Dom Smith would be available because the Nationals aren't going anywhere. And there will also be other players also that's on the trading block, some good young players. But as of right now, Dom Smith is the big chipper. And the Cardinals, I got them being sellers. I got Goldschmidt leaving. Arenado might leave. They might get rid of both of them to get some prospects in. I also got Jordan Montgomery, Jordan Hicks, John Flaherty. Those three pitchers, I also got them going too. The Cardinals need to get some young talent in there. Goldschmidt is under contract for this year and next year. So, I mean, if they don't trade him this year, most likely will be next, or even the off season, who knows. But I do have Goldschmidt being the big chip and the Cardinals leaving this trade deadline. I got the Rockies being sellers. C.J. Cron is the big chipper at first base there. Looks like first base is actually the position that everybody is going to trade. And there are some big teams out there that need a good first baseman that can hit with power and average. And Goldschmidt is that guy. So is C.J. Cron. On the Mets, I got them being sellers. Max Scherzer is going to be the big chipper in that one. He said he would waive his no trade clause to actually be traded to a contender. We'll see if that happens. But as of right now, I got Max Scherzer being the chip to go from the Mets because the Mets are not winning right now. They're finding more ways to lose than to win. Who knows? I mean, Lindor has like 8 years left on his contract, so I doubt he'll get traded this year. But there are some players on that team that can bring back some youth, some prospects, and build, not just build, but retool for the future. So that is my baseball talk right now. I know I'll have more baseball talk coming up in next episodes to come. We'll keep a track of the division leaders, the wild card leaders, the trade deadline. I'm going to actually keep up with that and give you news on that also. But right now, I'm actually going to give some of my NFL bold predictions because I know I have a lot of friends out there that like to listen to the NFL predictions. So in the AFC, I have the Jets winning the East. I know that's might be a bold. I don't know with Aaron Rodgers, but this, like I said earlier, this will be the only good year that they have with Aaron Rodgers. I believe next year they're going to regret getting Aaron Rodgers. My next bold prediction is going to be Pats. The Patriots will make the playoffs. I know I got some friends out there that'll be happy to hear that. But the Patriots will make the playoffs with Mac Jones. I believe DeAndre Hopkins is going to sign there. It's getting closer. Like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's lots of smoke with that rumor. I got the Ravens. I got them missing the playoffs. And I got a second one there. I guess it's a two-parter. The coach, Harbaugh, will get fired also. The Ravens will miss the playoffs. Jackson will regret re-signing with the Ravens because they don't put anybody around them. And Harbaugh will get fired at the end of the year. So we'll see if that happens. I don't want anybody to get fired, but we'll see if that happens. I got Russell Wilson from the Broncos winning the Comeback Player of the Year. I know some teams or some friends of mine don't want to hear about Russell Wilson. Some fans don't want to hear about Russell Wilson. But he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year, and the Broncos are going to be a contending team with Sean Payton as coach and Russell Wilson having a good season. And they got some good receivers. They have a young defense. Actually, the defense is really good. That was the best part of their team last year was the defense. So I do believe Russell Wilson as comeback player. And I'm also going to go one step further. The Broncos will make the playoffs. I do have this is my last bold prediction. I got the Chiefs not making the playoffs. I got them missing the playoffs. And we'll see what happens there. Patrick Mahomes, I don't think they did anything to get better. Now, between now and the season, there's talk that, they might get DeAndre Hopkins. He's a difference maker on two teams. He can make both teams, like the Patriots, he can make the Chiefs bigger contenders if he goes there. But as of right now, I'm saying the Chiefs will not make the playoffs in the AFC side of things. If you disagree with me, comment in the comments and we can have a debate. But as of right now, the Jets win their division. The Patriots make the playoffs. The Ravens miss the playoffs with Harbaugh getting fired. Russell Wilson's comeback player of the year in the AFC, and then the Chiefs will miss the playoffs in the AFC. Now into the NFC, I got the Cowboys missing the playoffs. And this is a two-parter. McCarthy gets fired because he fired their offensive coordinator. He said he wanted to run more. And then it doesn't matter. They were one of the best rushing teams last year. I don't know what he was thinking, getting rid of their coordinator. But as of right now, Dak's, you're not going to win a championship or make a playoffs or even win a division with Dak. Only Dak. I mean, past years they had Zeke Elliott running the ball. They had some good receivers. They got CeeDee Lamb. He's the best. Brandon Cooks, I know, but he's injury prone. CeeDee Lamb is not a number one guy. They don't got Zeke. They don't have a running back. So, I mean, they have a running back, Pollard, but he got hurt last year. Came off an ACL tear, ACL sprain. So, who knows how he's going to be. But if they don't get a running back, like Dalvin Cook, that's a possibility. If Dalvin Cook comes, he's also injury prone. I mean, that's not going to change my bold prediction. I still think the Cowboys will miss the playoffs. And McCarthy will ultimately be fired at the end of the year. I got the Packers winning the NFC North. I know everybody's thinking that the Packers are going to have like a rebuilding team this year since they got rid of Rodgers. But no, the Packers actually, under Jordan Love, are actually going to do better with a younger, more mobile quarterback. And those receivers are going to grow with them. Those receivers are young. They're probably out there right now, actually practicing together, getting some chemistry. And I believe I don't think the NFC North is going to be that great anyway. With the Bears and the Vikings all up there contending too, and the Lions. But I do have the Packers winning the NFC North under Jordan Love. I got the Bears making the playoffs, which means I don't think the Lions are going to make the playoffs or the Vikings. But I do have the Bears making the playoffs. Their quarterback is going to have a great year. He might even be an MVP candidate. But the Bears, my bold prediction, will make the playoffs. I got the Rams winning the West. I know there's some good teams like the Niners are out there. They're too busy whining about the NFC Championship game last year to concentrate on this year. So they're going to be distracted. They ain't got a quarterback. I mean, they got Sam Darnold, but he's not a real good quarterback. They got that Brock. I have no idea who that Brock guy is, but he was hurt. And but I still don't think he's that great. And I don't think their offensive line is that great. I just don't think they have a good team. I think the Rams have a better team. The Rams have a more experienced team. They got Stafford there, and I think he's going to have a really good season. And I think the Rams, I think they're going to have one really good last season. The Rams will win the West this year and make the playoffs. Then I got the Eagles, surprise, surprise, winning the NFC. In fact, I'm going to go bold prediction even more and say the Eagles are going to win it all. Hate me. That's the way it is. I'm a homer. So Eagles will win NFC. They will win the NFC and they will win the Super Bowl. I'm not predicting who's going to go in the AFC side, but it won't be the Chiefs because they're missing the playoffs. If you have any comments, anything you want to say about my bold predictions, you can actually comment in the comments section here. No matter where whether Spotify or YouTube, you can always find the comment section. And if you're a friend who has my number, you can text me and you can argue with me on that point. But again, for the NFC, Cowboys will miss the playoffs. McCarthy fired. Packers win the NFC North. Bears make the playoffs. Rams win the West. And Eagles win it all. And that's the way it is. All right, now we're done with the football bold predictions. I know everybody's going to just love my bold predictions. And I know they're going to be perfect right on. So we ain't going to talk about that anymore. Now I got Money in the Bank predictions for wrestling, for the wrestling fans out there. Money in the Bank is this weekend. It's actually in London, so it's going to be at 3 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Central time, and you can see it on your TV on your provider. First one, I got Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. I actually have Seth Rollins winning. It might be in a disqualification. Balor's actually losing mine. It's going to be a great match, probably a 5-star match out there between the two. But I do have Rollins beating Balor and actually retaining the championship belt. Then we got Usos versus the Bloodline. I have the Bloodline winning because, you got to keep that storyline up. If the Usos win, the storyline's done. You got to keep the storyline going with the Bloodline and Usos. I think the Bloodline's going to actually get a couple of new members because, Roman Reigns and those guys have a really big family. So they can always replenish to get rid of the Usos and get some more younger firepower in the faction from the Bloodline. But I do think there will be cheating. Somebody's going to come out of the crowd it's going to be a new member of the Bloodline. It's going to do something with one of the Usos, and Roman Reigns is actually going to pin either Jimmy or Jay. Then the men's Money in the Bank match, I got it's Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Logan Paul, Butch, Damian Priest, and Ricochet. I actually have LA Knight winning it. I have heard some rumors, though, about Logan Paul. They might change it and have Logan Paul win it, which I disagree with. You should not have Logan Paul, who's a part-timer, win that match when there's so many good wrestlers in this match that deserve it far more than Logan Paul. But as of right now, I'm predicting LA Knight to win that match. Then we got the women's Money in the Bank match with we got Lynch, Stark, Trish Stratus, Zelina, Bayley, and Io Sky. I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Bayley's going to win that match. I think she deserves it more than anybody there. I think Lynch, Stark, and Trish will be competing against each other. Too much to worry about getting up the ladder and getting the briefcase. And I think Bayley's going to sneak right up there and get that briefcase and be the new Money in the Bank, winner, women's winner. Then I got Cody versus Dom Mysterio. I believe Dominic Mysterio is actually going to win this match. I think this is going to set up another part of the Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes rivalry. Brock Lesnar is going to interfere on Dominic Mysterio's behalf, not for him to win because he doesn't care about Dominic Mysterio. This is all about Brock Lesnar. He's going to go in there and he's going to, like, the ref's going to get knocked out. Brock's going to go in there and just beat him up. And then Dominic's going to go over for the pin. The ref's going to come to, and the ref's going to count to 3. Rhea's going to have something to do with it, because she's going to be there. But I don't think she's going to have a say in who wins the match. For the IC Intercontinental Championship match, I got Gunther versus Riddle. I got Gunther winning this match. I think it's going to be one of those squash matches. I don't think Riddle has a chance in this match. It might be a good match, but I think Gunther is going to beat Riddle in probably like a 10-minute match. Then I got the women's tag team match. I do believe it's going to be Rousey and Baszler versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I do believe Rousey and Baszler is going to win. It's going to be a good match, as good as it can be with a Rousey in the match. But I do believe they're going to win. They're not going to have them, unify the belts, take the Women's Tag Team Championship and the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship and lose them the very next week. So I believe Rousey and Baszler is going to win in that Women's Tag Team match. Liv and Rodriguez, there'll be a good match. It'll be probably one of the best, matches on the card. Liv and Raquel Rodriguez is actually going to do really well. Baszler will do really well. Rousey will botch a move or two. But I do believe at the end, Rousey and Baszler is going to probably make Liv submit, and she'll tap out. That's my prediction on that one. So that is the episode 2. Again, if you have anything that you want to say about any of my predictions, whether it be the baseball predictions, whether it be my crazy bold predictions on the football side, again, the Chiefs will not make the playoffs, and the Eagles will win it all. That's the big thing there. I mean, I got a lot of Chiefs fans and friends, a lot of Patriots fans and friends, a lot of Jets fans and friends. There's most likely some Cowboy fans out there that'll most likely disagree with my predictions. Again, if you have anything to say, comment it, and I will read it. And if you have a question, I can actually even answer the question on the air next week. But again, if you have any questions or comments, put it in the comment section. We'll get to them. Same thing with Money in the Bank predictions. If you disagree with me on those, or actually, because they are this Saturday, we will see how that pans out, who wins what matches. If you want to comment and rub it in my face that I was wrong, or congratulate me because I was right, you can do that also. So I just want to say thank you for listening. Again, if you have any questions or comments, or let me know how I'm doing, just let us know how we're doing here in Big Mama's house. And then again, just let us know how we're doing, and hopefully my predictions are correct, especially Money in the Bank. I do believe all these are pretty concrete. All right, thank you very much, and use your turn signals. Bye-bye.